Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, of course, depending on when you are viewing us. Welcome to Around Town with Dave Walsh, and I am your host, Dave Walsh. Our show covers the great events and happenings in the town of Stoughton, and the folks who make those happenings happening. Today, we're here at the Dawe School to take a tour of the school. This is in light of viewers asking us, what does the school look like? So we're going to go take a tour. Dr. Baeta has graciously offered to give us a tour of the school. So if you want, why don't you join us and take a tour of the Dawe Elementary School? Hi, Dr. Baeta.
Hey,
Can we take a tour of the Dawe Elementary School?
Absolutely. Welcome to Dawe
Great,
Elementary
thank you.
School here in Stoughton. Come on in.
Great, thank you, sir.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to the Dawe.
You, Rob?
I'm Rob Cancelleri, the proud principal of the Dawe Dragons.
Excellent. I like it.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is the infamous Dawe
Elementary
lobby.
School.
Yes, the Dawe Elementary School. We sometimes call it the Dragon Lair. We got that picture taken, so students come in to kind of build a community. And you can tell by the flags that are strung up on the ceiling. Tonight we are actually doing our annual Diversity at the Dawe night.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that
So it's a
event is
perfect
tonight.
timing to do the tour.
Perfect timing, and something that we're going to actually keep strung up on the ceiling to be inviting and welcoming to all of our Dawe Dragons.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. This 1969 building originally opened as the North Elementary School.
Okay.
So in comparison, as you can see from the designs, this and the Gibbons School are literally duplicates of each other with
Okay.
some minor changes. Totally different from a 1950s and 60s South School.
Yeah.
Reason for being part of wanting you to come out and see this, we did this the South. We also want to show the taxpayers that long-term we have spent funding on our schools to keep them up to date. Decisions were made around the South School, as we know, as part of the building project years ago, actually a few decades now ago. But this is what an elementary school of this age should look like. This is a solid school in great shape, always doing updates to it. So welcome.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to give us the tour.
You bet.
Hi, Mr. Vaney. Do you want to check out a traditional first grade classroom?
Sure.
See what it looks like?
We'll take 105.
105.
Okay.
The famous Mrs. Pulio's classroom. So this is a traditional first grade classroom. In this room, I'd have to count all the desks off the top of my head, but you're looking at about 18, 19 students. Every classroom comes equipped with a smart board. Teachers are very experienced with using that technology. It's definitely a foundation of their instruction. Our custodian, Mr. Pezza, he is a long-term Stoughton Public School employee. Also went through Stoughton schools, has a ton of pride in keeping this place neat and orderly. As you can tell, everything's nice and neat and organized. And we also picked the perfect teacher's classroom because Mrs. Pulio runs a tight ship in terms of organization. Nothing's
Yeah, you
out
can
of
see
place.
everything put away and everything in its place. That's very good.
So as you also take a look at things like ceiling tiles, are continuously updated. We're, again, always doing that preventative maintenance. But you'll look over by the window area, you'll see that this was part of a project just a number of years ago. This was a accelerated repair project with the MSBA. It was the Hanson, the Wilkins, the Gibbons, and the Dawe over time. But this is the latest, if you will. There have already been more upgrades. But you have windows that actually open. You have windows that give you egresses in case of emergencies. You have the shades at the time would have been new, so on and so forth.
And
So
these aren't plexiglass.
no, this is glass.
Yes.
This is glass and double pane.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's also much better because heating systems is our key thing here, right? Roofs, windows, heating system. You get those three things together. That means your building envelope, besides your electrical, that's your envelope. If your envelope is solid, you're in good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, it shows. It's
So-
just this one room is showing.
Yeah.
And these
and-
were just installed recently, Dr. Baeta, right? I
Yes.
don't know the
Yeah,
exact
these are
timeline.
Same
but
timeline as
the
part of the
HVAC system.
The
These
HVAC
are
system
quiet.
upgrade. Very quiet.
Really quiet.
This building is also now connected to central air conditioning.
Oh, wow.
So this building and the Gibbons will be done this summer.
Yes.
Completion here. We have an electrical completion to do here early in
Yep.
the summer. And then the Gibbons has the full, not the entire building, but a significant portion of the building have AC. So when we run our summer program here, that is a major positive, is
Yeah.
that we're not at 90 degrees outside and 100 degrees inside.
So to be clear, the whole school is.
So this is about 85% of this school is completely AC'd.
Yeah.
Major core areas, so on and so forth.
All the classrooms.
All the
Yep.
classrooms.
The gymnasium, the cafeteria, those are not, but like
Right.
the places with most students spend time are. And it's pretty neat. I don't know the technology behind it, of course, but Mr. Pezza, when he actually goes on his computer, can access like the data from specific rooms in their systems.
Oh,
So
and
when it-
adjusted accordingly?
It's pretty cool.
Yes.
The teacher will say, oh, my room is cold, and he'll go on and see what the temperature is, and it's pretty neat for monitoring purposes.
It also looks at your air quality. So what it does is the control system allows that all of a sudden, let's say you have 12 bodies in the room, and now
Right.
an hour later there's 24. It's going to self-adjust for the purposes of recognizing that more
That's
air
incredible.
quality can come into the room.
That's nice.
That's a deal breaker, right? And that's where we are.
One thing I'm noticing right off, just noticing, is the halls seem a lot wider than.
Yes. Well, here what you have is you have more lighting, they're wider, and to be quite honest, they also have a lighter color on their walls right off the bat. So that, I mean, that helps out. This building is actually due for an internal, probably in the next 2 to 3 years at most, probably significant internal painting. That's one of the things that I've been trying to tell our custodial staff, is to really take a look at upgrades that I think are just things that we do at our own home,
Yeah.
right? They're just things that you do every so
Keep it
often to
fresh
keep
and-
it fresh. OMS this summer will not have any summer programming. I'm closing that building down because I want to spend some time and effort over there. That building hasn't been closed down in probably
Sorry.
2.5 to 3 decades in the summertime.
So
it's
we're
been an
closing
area.
down to do.
We're going to do some extra
renovation.
work, some extra top-down cleaning, some painting and that type of stuff.
not
Minor,
closed
but
down
yeah,
permanently.
but not closed down permanently. No.
We can pop in here if you want, just to kind of give you an idea of like a spacing
An extra
situation.
library?
It's not in the
Yes.
hall here.
So this is when I first became
Wow.
principal here 8 years ago, and it's actually similar. The blueprint similarities between this and the Gibbons. I was a teacher at the Gibbons before I came here, so it's easy to find my way around the building.
Did you go through Stoughton School?
I went through Stoughton Schools,
gosh.
Hanson Elementary School grad, middle school, and then Stoughton High, 2004. So a lot of Stoughton pride.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like
so
it.
it's really neat. It was, when I first started, this was a full library. And then due to student enrollment and capacity and the prioritization and, being supported by the school district and school committee to have additional classrooms, we got additional classrooms, which resulted in our computer teacher not having a classroom. So on this side, you have what you would call a traditional library. Every classroom has library one time per week for 42 minutes. Mr. D'Alessandro, also a Stoughton guy, he takes them for library and does a variety of different activities. Sometimes it's some homegrown, sometimes it's stuff that transfers from the classroom. On the other side, our computer and technology teacher, Mr. Relihan, he runs computer on that side.
Okay.
So the maintenance department gave us some of these soundproofing boards that do a reasonably good job. And then we were able to utilize some STEM carts to kind of block it from students peering in and wondering what's going on the other side of the classroom.
Right, or throwing things over.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a good creative fix. Mr. Pez and I repurposed the bookshelves, got rid of some, and helped Mr. D'Alessandro organize everything. So it turned out really nice.
Yeah, it's nice big space.
Yeah, still a big space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which helps a lot. Yeah. Like you said, we're not in the hallway.
Right.
Now, one of the core issues that we're having at the elementary level is because of A, increased enrollment, and B, our increase in wanting to create our specialized classrooms in district and not just have the option of going out of district. It means that spaces are being taken over more and more in buildings that were never built for special education services or high number of ELs that we have. And so slowly, as you know, we've been eating away at our libraries to become more and more classroom spaces. So this is
Yeah.
one of the leftover ones, if you will, still.
And one thing on that separation there, it's not that big sheet or comforter. I saw
No,
in
no,
South
and that
School
one,
with
yeah,
the-
and that one was due to because of the student with deaf and hard of hearing, which is a little bit, but it's also really not the way we should be doing
Right,
business.
exactly. So this is nice to see.
Yeah. This was a big project, but it turned out great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. I don't know if maybe we want to just take a right at the stairs and take a peek upstairs.
Sure.
And then we'll kind of come back down. You can check out the cafeteria, the gymnasium, the kitchen, the boiler room, whatever's
They
exciting.
all sound good.
They all
Check
sound good.
mark.
All right.
Yeah, I like
So
them all.
we'll go right
I
up
do
this
like
way.
boiler rooms.
I see.
Yes.
We'll
Well-
make sure to pop in there.
And Matt, before you go upstairs, let's also take a look at something that maybe we don't speak about as much, but in connection to the South School, I think is important, and that's the opportunity for students to have play. So if you look at the Gibbons and you look at the Dawe here, what you see is what we should have. Significant area for students to come out during recess, during physical education. This is going to actually be fenced in the springtime, so that'll give us even more security. And of course, you have all the fields in the back. You don't have a lot of these opportunities at the South School. Even if you were renovating that building, you'd have even less. So this is a perfect example Now, if we add modulars to these classrooms, this is where they're
Goes
going.
away.
Right.
This is where they're going.
Right.
So that becomes a significant issue in terms of the ability for students to have literally an area. So if you want to bring out all of your grades, you've just cut this down to 50%.
Is that what so it would be 50% of this is taken away
50%,
from modulars.
a minimum of 50% will be
Minimum.
gone.
And that will hurt, to be completely transparent, because right now what this space allows us to do is, third and fourth grade share lunch and recess. So when they come out, so you're not having cross grade levels or too many kids in one area, we switch off. Even days, third grade has access to the playground, odd days, fourth grade has access. So you actually see a grade level on the blacktop and a grade level on the playground. To cut that in space, it'd be really tricky.
Yeah.
We'd have to repurpose this space, and with the weather, like that grass won't be dry for quite a bit due to the snow, and that would result in indoor recess, not because it's not nice out, but because mud coming into the building
Right.
would drive Mr. Pezza crazy.
And then,
Understandably.
and again, when we did the windows projects and the roof projects and so on and so forth, and right behind you, you'll see the new HVAC systems. This is all brand new. I mean, literally, we've done some rebricking throughout the years, but literally the only thing left on the outside perimeter of this right now would be a rebricking plan, and that would be more of a long-term plan. So these are the types of things that Stoughton Public Schools has been doing to make sure that we're looking at one new elementary school over the course of the next 50 years and not multiple elementary schools over the next 50 years.
Right.
Upstairs we go?
Up the stairs
All right.
we go. So this is a true second floor that the South doesn't have. The Wilkins does have a second floor, the Hanson does not. Wilkins is more of a basement floor, if you will. But this is the type of building access that was built in the 60s and 70s, different from, of course, the 50s and 60s that the South present. But this also allows for that grade level distribution the way you really want it, right? So your older kids are typically on
They're
the
all
second
upstairs,
floor.
yep.
Younger kids are on the first floor, typically.
So you end up graduating up to the
It's a big deal.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure they
Which
look
is
at it and
also-
go, oh, I'm going up to the next.
It's a big deal.
It's a
So
big deal.
third, fourth, and fifth grade are up here, K1, 2 downstairs. And then actually in terms of the recess area, in the afternoon, that is for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and our kindergarten students have their own playground on the other side of the building.
Nice.
So we separate them from the older kids.
Yeah.
This is a traditional third grade classroom. It's been repurposed along the way. When I first started here 8 years ago, just in terms of student enrollment, this was a classroom that academic support center teachers could pull a kid into to give them their special education services. But the numbers have increased dramatically. This is Mrs. Jenkins' room, another awesome teacher. Just a big enough space to have a pretty significant size classroom. You're talking 19 kids, I believe, but it's spacious enough, and they're able to do center work, peer work, and everything. They have comfortable seating in the back. There's just enough space to, the kids would probably describe it as their own little community, and which makes them want to come to school, to be quite honest.
And you're here at the end of the day, so you're literally looking at the mess of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it's pretty orderly.
I was
We're
gonna
gonna have
say,
a,
if you call this
you're
the
gonna
mess
have,
of the
right,
day.
you're gonna have a broom, you're gonna have cleaning done by our professional, awesome custodial staff that we have here. The trash will be picked up, things will be cleaned down and all of that. But just to let you know, we're here at the end of the day.
Right.
This room hasn't even been cleaned yet, and to be quite honest, if tomorrow we had to walk into this, we'd be in okay shape, right? It's
Yeah.
not anything that we wouldn't want kids to walk into. So the teachers do a great job of making sure the chairs are lined up so it makes it nice and easier for the custodials to come through and clean and get it all ready for tomorrow. So again, typical classroom. The first thing that you'll notice is that about 75 to 80% of these classrooms are actually somewhere around 140 to 180 square feet larger
Yeah.
than the South.
I can.
New elementary schools
Yeah.
are running anywhere from 780 to 920 square feet, depending on location and rooms, how many kids in the classroom and all that stuff. So you have 18, 19, 20 kids in a class size this way, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
You start to think of 30 in here, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, very traditional and upgraded. At the end of the day, 1969 building, upgraded.
Yeah. And again, those windows are all. So was the whole building done? All the
The
windows?
whole building, all of them.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. We were done.
Well,
it was-
last time, the South School, we were going through
Oh, yeah.
different iterations of windows, right?
It was-
Right,
Every room we had different, the plexiglass,
And-
different.
Oh, yeah.
And
These are
because of the
consistent.
status of the South School, we wouldn't have been able to put the South School into new windows without paying for 100% of it, because it was already known and considered that that building had so many other upgrades that needed to be done. And don't forget, when you put in windows, you put in a heating system. If the cost exceeds the 1/3 valuation of the building, you must become fully ADA compliant.
Which opens up a whole nother.
It does. This building, ADA compliant.
Right.
So don't have to go through that. So it's really important for people to know that it's not just saying, no, we're not going to do it. It also came a time where we couldn't do it because if you had done the windows and the heating and the roof, the moment you hit that 1/3 valuation of the building, you have to become federal ADA compliant, which means your bathroom access needs to be widened, multiple doors need to be widened. We have the lifts over there; those would be gone,
yeah,
right? You'd have to come up with literally an elevator system over there of some sort. Now you're actually eliminating classrooms. So it's important for people to know that certain decisions were made, not in relevance to not wanting to do it, but because the cost would have just ballooned to a significant amount, and really just piecemealing it. And then what? 10 years later, you say, why did you just spend $10 million if 10 years later you know you need a new school anyways?
And I've had viewers reach out to me saying, that building's not ADA compliant. How can we have a building in this town that's not ADA compliant?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's.
And ADA is a big deal because
Yeah.
it's also a constant moving target. It really is, and a lot of it also depends on who does the reviews and who does the assessments and all of that. We've had some issues according to third parties at the high school, all of that. But it is 2025. I mean, when we say 2025, and somebody says to me, why can't we have a 20th, a 20th century school? I say, well, that's because we're 25 years already in
Right.
to the next century.
Right.
I mean, we're a quarter of the way.
Yeah.
And so, if you don't want to build something that's going to go out 50 years, that's 2075,
Mhm.
right? It's actually be 2078 by the time you open a new building.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at the 22nd century only a few years away, right? So it's like,
Right.
Can't
it
keep
doesn't
up.
make any financial sense to go that route, in my opinion.
Yep, understood.
Go through the doors. Thank you, Sarah.
Got it.
And again, I mean, this is a perfect example. Again, hallways haven't been cleaned yet. We're at the end of the day, but most of the
They
coats are
look
gone.
clean to me.
Most of the coats are gone. The bathrooms are in good shape here. Again, painting and that type of stuff. We will be doing some electrical upgrades in some of our other schools as well over the next few years.
Not to stop you, but that is in a box. I think the South School, I saw that in a box.
Yeah. So we have one of these at the South School, if I remember. So these became a really important thing. Many of these came through actual grant supports. I think these run about $2,500, $2,700 a piece. And these have been deal breakers, really, because it's also cut down on the amount of bottles that are around.
Right.
So it's actually, it really has helped with kids not just bringing plastic bottles, but now they have refillable. And we're at 11,867 bottles saved.
Wow.
So it keeps a count for every time you
I think we have
fill
5
up.
of them in the building,
We
if I
have- yeah.
remember correctly.
But
Right.
it's nice. It looks like it's nicely integrated.
Yeah.
Compared
Yeah.
to what?
Yeah.
They-
They
And
all
it's
look
filtered,
perfect, yeah.
it's filtered, it's clean, and Stoughton Water's always had good water, but now
Yes.
you're going through a filtering system at the
Right.
same
Yeah,
time.
That's
so.
great. No, I think that's wonderful.
So on
So-
this side is 5th grade. Sorry,
No,
Dr.
no,
B.
go ahead.
5th grade, 3rd grade, they're kind of all, we have the benefit of being such a large school that it's not departmentalized, but grade level wise, they're with their peers, colleagues. So
Yeah.
during common planning time and shared prep times, they're able to pop their door open and they're right nearby to a neighbor.
So if you look at the Gibbon School, it's literally the same setup.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
literally, this would have been, at the Gibbon School, this would have been my 5th grade classroom right there.
Is that-
So if you look at the duplicate
Wow.
of the classroom, right?
Wow.
And the next door would have been Dr. Quigley's room. Ed
Oh,
Quigley,
yes.
who was a teacher at the time.
Wow.
Former
Giving
superintendent
you
in Norwood.
nostalgia.
Right, so it's just a connection. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
55. I went through those schools in the late 70s, and to say that I'm in the building late 70s and 81, 82, before I went to the middle school, then the junior high, and then the high school. I mean, this is the way a taxpayer would want your schools to be kept
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So it's a deal breaker, and I think when people say, okay, decisions were made, let's build a new elementary school for the next 50 years because we've got these other schools in great shape.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And closing, you're going to close 2, right? So-
yeah, close to, we
Right.
close the south end of Jones.
Want to take a trip downstairs?
We'll
Yeah.
go to the
Does that work?
big areas, if you will. So one of the problems in this building, if you, quote, if we want to say a problem, it's, in some ways it's a nice to have, is we're running out of space.
No.
So if my colleague here, Mr. C, said to me, hey, Joe, I'm a little worried about class size in kindergarten next year, and I said, okay, let me find the money, and all of a sudden, hey, I find the money, his biggest headache is finding the room,
Wow.
right? Finding the space to be able to
Yeah.
do it. And I know what he would do, because I know how he thinks. And he's willing to step outside the box. But those are the issues we're running into. We're adding another therapeutic learning center program at the Dawe School this year, at the Wilkins School. So we have 3 classrooms
sorry.
here. We'll have 2 classrooms at the Wilkins, 4 classrooms at the Gibbons,
Yep.
2 classrooms at the Hanson, and 1 classroom at the South, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Or maybe 2.
I think 3 at the Hanson.
3 at the Hanson.
Yep.
So, long story short, those are all regular classrooms that have been made into specialized classrooms in order to make sure that the students that reside in Stoughton have the opportunity to stay in Stoughton instead of just go out of district.
Outside the district,
There are
yeah.
students that need to go out of district, and again, that is a contract between parents and the district. It's not just we decide. It has to be a comprehensive decision by a team. But in most cases, we have well over 140 students in specialized programs in this district. That is a pretty significant number for
Yeah.
a district of 3,879 students.
Yeah, and their classroom spaces require different needs,
Right.
essentially, you know. We'll go down this way.
Yeah.
This is the kindergarten wing.
Might get a little louder down here because we do have after-school programming
Yep.
and people prepping for tonight's multicultural, of which, if you've never been to that and you like to taste test foods,
All
I
different types
highly
of-
This could be
suggest, my
dangerous.
favorite person was from, I think it was Ukraine.
Yes, yes, it was.
I've never tasted food
And
from
Polish.
Ukraine.
You like the
and
Polish
I love
food.
the Polish food.
Can we pop in really quick? Is that
Thanks.
cool?
Thank
Oh,
you.
So quiet.
Oh, my gosh.
It's almost twice the size
Yes.
of the South School. Hi, guys. Almost twice the size, great shape.
Yes.
Decent, you know, not your traditional gym floor, but it's in decent shape. This is our after-school extended day program. Thank you guys for all your work.
Yeah, of course.
And, I mean, you're going from, you know, this size at the South to this size.
Right.
You know, it's a reasonable size. Now, if we add modular classrooms, this becomes a problem.
Right.
Right.
Because it's another 100, roughly 100 to 110 students would come here. That's a problem.
Problem in multiple ways, right?
Yeah,
Gym.
Yes.
Gym,
Cafeteria.
cafeteria, and the kitchen. Because now you know you can't just say, hey, let's create 100 more lunches. You
Right.
got to go through a process to be able to do that.
And be able to house them in a...
And housing of food products and all that stuff is a
Right.
problem too.
Right.
And this is also for us, you know, not just a gymnasium. It's when it's inclement weather, indoor recess, grades 3, 4, 5 go in
Good
there,
point, yeah.
K1, 2 go there. So you add another 60 kids or whatever, however it breaks down. If we
Probably
get
100.
that, you know, it's safe. For me, it's just safety.
Right.
Like that's a significant amount more kids. This is just a hallway that's kind of, it's a utility hallway. As we grew out of different classrooms, now the first room down to your left is a kindergarten room. This one here with the yellow lettering is a first grade room, and then this is a second grade room to the left of that. It's really nice because they get to do vertical planning. They get to work with each other. They're all phenomenal teachers, everybody in this building. But we had to repurpose them. One used to be the computer lab. We had to take that away. I believe one was a music room before I got here. So just bit by bit, the prioritization of classrooms. This area that you see with the shelves, this used to be a book room that used to be in one of the office spaces in the library. They're really nice sized spaces, so actually our EL teachers utilize them as office spaces, and we decided to make this for universal use purposes. They're just in the lobby. These are typically our instructional coaches come down here and get books to give to classroom teachers to support them with their instruction. These are not Kids are not going through these libraries.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know.
So it's not what we saw at the
No,
store.
no.
Great.
These are, an adult would come down and they would grab books. Our instructional coaches are amazing. They'd grab a book on a particular subject area, drop it off to the teacher during the planning time, and be able to go over the different resources we have available.
Yeah, and
So
it's
the-
also nice to see that there was some flexibility in this building to make these adjustments.
Much more flexibility
Yeah.
here than the South.
Yeah.
The Dawe and the Gibbons give us more flexibility.
Yeah.
If you're willing to step outside the box a little bit, everybody wants to have their own room, but you do get it when you have increased enrollment. You do get into these situations where you have to create a specialized small classroom for EL, let's say, which is 90 minutes of direct services,
Yeah.
or you have you need a psychologist's office. What do? You grab a bunch of these cabinets and you put these things in the hallway, and as long as this continues, and that's the other thing is the amount of space in this hallway compared to the South, there are zero questions as it pertains to fire code.
Yeah.
The South, we're right at that line. Right at that line.
That was clear.
So that becomes part of our problem.
Can I just show them this space,
Yes.
Dr. B?
Yeah.
Only because when you talked about the new building project, I know it allows the opportunity for specialized instructional spaces for students that might be, receiving specialized instruction. This is our physical therapist space. So a lot of our kids that are receiving special education services in the area of PT, they come here. It's a bit of a mess right now. It's at the end of the day, disclaimer, like Dr. B said, but this, my first year here, we were able to get this structure. And the physical therapist, I promise it looks better during the usual day, they're actually able to use these tools as a part of the IEP goals when a student is working to achieve better mobility or better balancing. But this space is pretty critical, not only for the PT, but also when students need a break or they just need a movement break. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those bonus spaces that the bigger building allows us to have
Yeah.
when a kid is just feeling itchy, scratchy,
Sure.
and being in their classroom space is not the right thing
Yeah.
for that moment.
One of the biggest issues around physical therapy, speech, occupational therapy is that most people in the real world, if you will, or outside world, unless you've had a child who needs physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, you probably don't know about these types of spaces and these types
Right.
of services that we have to deliver. And so when you're looking at a place like the Gibbons, you're looking at the Dawe, you have these better flexibility. Although I will tell you, it's another sensitive area because it's a growing population of students who need the need of OT
Right.
and PT.
Yeah.
And those can be significant needs of students who are getting that.
So this wasn't at the, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
This wasn't at the South, right?
No,
I was gonna say, I
no,
don't
you
recall
don't
seeing
have
it.
these.
No.
You don't have these types of situations. You have a less opportunity for students. They're still getting the minimum of physical therapy, occupational therapy at a very high level, but it doesn't give you that flexibility that this building does.
Yeah.
And a new building would
There's
have.
no, opening to the outside we saw in the other
Right,
building.
so at the South School, we have a
Yeah.
counselor's office where we've had to cut out a small fan so that air can be pushed in, but also the
Right.
noise can keep people from hearing about the counseling.
Confidentiality.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
there's a noise machine up on
Yeah.
the top so
Oh,
that
boy.
we drown it. Yeah. So,
Yeah, we don't have those here.
No.
good to see.
Yeah, right. We can go down this way, take a peek at the, I'd love for you to see the kitchen,
Yeah.
Yeah,
where the
that'd be
where the
great.
queen
Especially
of
if
the
there's food
cafeteria
in there.
works. Oh, right. Tonight.
Cat,
Yeah, 6:30.
Cat kitchen, boiler room should be good places to.
Perfect. And I don't know if you wanted to see a larger kindergarten space, Dr. B?
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right.
One of the negatives probably about this building, probably the only negative that we really have is parking.
Okay.
That's been a major issue for a long time here is parking. And as we have, like tonight, you have a big event.
Right.
Yeah.
You're parking all over the place. We're using side streets.
Yep.
So that's something that, just, you don't
I
have.
think I
every-
recall you had parked along the edge going
Absolutely,
out, right?
yep,
And then-
yep. And so as you get bigger, or if you stick 100 more kids in this building, I don't know where you're going to park.
yeah.
You see if
Just
this is
don't know.
open? We can go through Mr. Pez's office. Go this way. This is actually the music classroom too. I don't know if you want to take a peek. We repurposed our stage into a classroom just to kind of show you the creative spacing, but it's all about what you make it. Miss Russell's done an unbelievable job of making this a cool classroom space. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's so loud.
Yeah.
But the
Those
kids love it up
ukuleles?
here. Yeah, ukuleles. She runs the gamut up here.
Yeah.
She's first year here at the Dawe, an incredible addition, and has really made this place her own, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool.
Kids love music here.
Yes, we all do. If I stay up here too long, I'll start doing a solo.
Nobody would mind. I'll have to get my key,
I
Dr.
think I have a
B.
major key.
Do you?
I don't know. I don't.
Want me to run and get it out of my office?
Yeah.
All right,
we'll
I'll
do
be
the
right back.
cafeteria at the same time.
And the kitchen, you
The
can enter
kitchen.
right through the back.
Yeah. So we're going to get into we're going to give you a boiler entrance in a few minutes while we grab a key. But just for you to see again, a cafeteria is in very good shape. The professionals in here do an awesome job. These lunches here are very, very popular. Again, bigger school, bigger kitchen.
Yeah, I was going to say much
updated. Again, another continuous area that we're updating our machinery. That's part of the requirements now with the lunch programs being national. Well, we don't know if they're going to continue to be free because of some of the issues that are happening right now. But again, it's clean. It's updated.
It's bigger.
It's bigger space.
And what's the number of students here again?
We run right around 400 students here.
Okay.
Give or take 10 one way or the other, depending on the year. Rob probably has an exact number, but again, and you have, a couple of part-timers and a couple of full-timers that run this kitchen for the entire building, with anywhere between 60 and 70% of the students taking free lunch or breakfast every day.
Wow.
So you're turning out some significant numbers on a
Numbers,
regular
yeah.
basis, which is great. And kudos to them at all of our schools. They're putting out some good products that the kids like. Kids are always looking for the more sugary stuff and the carbs, but the fact is we have to follow certain rules.
Sure.
Those rules have become more lenient, which in many ways, you got the medical side saying we should do, and you get the political side saying it's fine. What am I supposed to do about it?
Right.
But they do a great job with it. And then if we want to sneak out right in this way to the cafeteria, and again, they're putting it together for tonight, for their multicultural night. But again, they're just cleaning up right now from extended day. But if we have to run another lunch, we will have to run a fourth lunch in this building. Four. We're at 3
4
now.
lunches.
4 lunches. So you're going to have kids either starting lunches at 10 in the morning, or you're going to have kids eating at 1:15 in the afternoon. That's what happens.
1:15 and then grabbing the bus at 2.
And then grab the bus at 2:30, 2:45. So that's a lot of the question mark stuff that we have. But again, great shape.
Yeah.
Heating system, all of that stuff. They've done a really good job, and this is a perfect example. Again, the most important part of wanting to show you this, Dave, is, and then the public is, we have schools in town that we've done the right thing. A decision was made at one time. Let's leave that decision. Let's build a new school, and then continue to make sure through our capital plan, make sure that we're continuously upgrading our elementary schools.
Right.
The Hanson School's in good shape. This would be in very good to excellent shape. Same thing at the Gibbons, and then the Hanson and the Wilkins are actually in solid shape.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't know that the Wilkins needs a heating system update, but there's a roof and new windows over there already. I was just there today. It's a beautiful old building.
Yeah.
It's older, but it's rock solid. So.
And we should do a tour for that one as
Yeah,
well.
it's be a perfect example.
Yeah.
Love to have you.
Yeah.
And then this is, again, the upgrades to boiler rooms happen in one of 2 ways. They either happen through capital planning, or they happen through it stopped working.
Right.
There's only 2 options.
Right. Did I hear the other night there was one being stored?
Yeah, we have one that's being stored for the Dawe School here.
Okay.
Came from the old fire station. It was
Right.
only 7 years old, and I said, grab it.
Yeah.
7-year-old. It'll cost money to install. But if you remember the noise you heard at the other one and everything, this is more of your state of the art.
Am I going to feel the heat I felt
And
off of that
no,
one?
you are not going to feel that burst of heat.
I tell you, I walked up to the one at the South School and it was like...
So this is the newer, that's the older. So this is the one that would be replaced in the near future. Okay? And then even then, that's not as old as the one that we saw. But this is the state-of-the-art stuff that you're getting now. So what we decided to do, we saw that it was a duplicate of what we had, and we said, you know what? I think it was $10,000 or $13,000 to uninstall it or bring it to us. We took it.
Yeah.
We said we got nothing to lose with
Smart
it.
move.
It's a good move.
Yeah.
Now, getting rid of this and installing a new one, it's still a good $150,000 easy.
Yeah.
But hopefully people will see that we did the right thing. A new building, you won't believe how quiet they are. I mean,
this
crazy.
These are nice. Actually, I have that same brand
same
in my
brand.
house. Yeah,
So you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you guys want to grab up there, I mean, you can see the calcium buildup on the valves of the old valves and the old boiler.
Yeah.
You can see the buildup of it.
So, again, upgrades are being made to our schools. Expenses are taking place. We are working with the MSBA, when possible. We'll be doing a capital plan, as you know. So
Yeah.
the future is very bright when it comes to our capital needs and being part of the capital program for the town,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to go for new projects.
And what's the latest on having those together, the capital plan?
The latest is we'll be going out right around after February vacation for a posting to hire a firm. They're pretty quick on their turnaround time.
Okay.
We should have something right for the new fiscal year. It won't be part of the FY26 plan, but we will be able to take items and begin to prioritize FY27 probably as soon as the fall. If they decide to use capital items at a special, typically we don't see that unless it's something that's really needed.
Right.
And then it would be, what are those projects that we put in a capital plan, but we know that there's a potential funding source of, in most cases, the accelerated repair is going to be about 40 cents on the dollar for us, maybe a little less, a little bit more. But if you got $1 million project, you get 300,000, 400,000 from the state, you're probably going to take it.
Yeah.
It's just on a capital plan where you're using free cash, it just makes sense to not have to borrow millions of dollars.
Right.
You already checked out the kitchen?
Yeah, yep. The only other thing too that when you look at capital, one of the big things around capital is anything and everything to do with upgrading your electricity, i.e. your lighting, right? Lighting, our third-party companies, your national grids, and all of those, they're all after us to continuously make upgrades because they're under a lot of pressure to make sure that the cost of electricity is down and the usage is down. So we haven't discussed solar as a district, but I believe that that's going to be something that we do discuss at some point. The question would be, what's the price? Why are we doing it? And what's the offsets? Right now, there are federal offsets, but those federal offsets right now have already been put on hold as they're reviewing should we be doing them or not. Those offsets are significant, right? They're significant to a building project, $1 to $2 million that we could be getting. That right now is up in the air.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
You want to see the kindergarten classroom?
Yeah, we're going to see a quick kindergarten classroom.
Hi, Dory. Hi, Pete.
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on?
guys.
Hey,
How are you? Nice to
Good,
see
good
you.
to see you.
Hey, bud. Do you
Hi,
want to see
guys.
the kindergarten playground?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Here, Pete.
What is
Making a movie.
So this is the kindergarten playground. 2 years ago?
I think it was the year before I got here.
Yeah. So the...
Maybe 24,
23?
20, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the PTO did a lot of work to kind of help support the process. The nice thing is in the morning during nice weather, kindergarten and first grade students get dropped off here. So they're outside of the madness of second through fifth grade.
Right.
Which is key, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then in the afternoon, kindergarten has this to themselves.
Line them up. Room numbers.
Yep,
Yes.
room numbers.
I
We bring
remember
out the
this.
recess cart. We have lower basketball hoops on this side. So,
I
it's,
think we could
all
make
good
those
stuff.
baskets.
we're just showing
Oh,
a
yeah.
video about how awesome the Dawe school is.
Dragons.
What's awesome
Tower
about
Dragons.
it is that this is a perfect example of a school with its parents group has really thought out and said, you know what, if we could spend a few bucks by donating some money and have something for K1, what does that mean? That just means better safety, better opportunities for kids. The younger kids are not with the quote older kids.
Right.
It's a win-win.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
And then we're going to go into a kindergarten classroom, just to kind of show you how much different a kindergarten classroom is
I don't know
in
if
a
it's
building built in the 1960s and 70s versus a building from the 50s and 60s. Because the theory of this was grounded on play. So what do you need? Space.
Space, right.
So
This is one of our, we
Oh,
have
wow.
4 kindergarten classrooms
Much, what a
with a
difference,
built-in
yeah.
restroom, which is big.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so 2 of our 4 kindergarten classrooms have built-in restrooms.
Wow.
this is a game changer.
I totally.
You have, let's say you cap this at 15, 16 kids
Yep.
with a teacher, maybe in and out support staff as needed. I would say maybe not as much, but that's just my opinion. The amount of space here allows for stations, quiet time, playtime, collaboration time. What we've been doing in Massachusetts for 25 plus years is moving curriculum down into kindergarten. We want every kid reading and writing by the time they leave K.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Yeah.
That's not where the world is.
Yeah.
You know, we need our kids, and so we're actually going to be having some discussions about kindergarten. We want to continue to increase the academics for kids, but at the same time, really get them structured around what it is to be in the school day, how to act in the school day, how to collaborate with each other, how to persevere.
Yeah.
You know, how to deal with difficult tasks. That's the future.
Yeah.
It's not, as we know, an MCAS test.
Right. Yeah.
Other deal breaker is the bathroom being in the same room.
Yes.
Right.
Deal breaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of just, sending kids to kindergarten to the bathroom out in the hallways. It's a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's a
you
long
look at
walk.
this space,
Yeah.
it's a significant amount of space.
Yes.
This room and the room next door, they're both same square footage, and they both have the built-in restroom.
Wow.
So we lucked out. I mean,
So unfortunately,
big.
if he had to add another K class, they're not getting the built-in bathroom.
right.
Yeah.
And they may not even be in the same hallway.
Correct. Most likely
Right.
not, to be
Right.
quite honest with you.
Right.
But the nice thing about keeping kindergarten here, at least 3 out of the 4 classrooms, that the next classroom we walk through, when you walk out in the hallway and take an immediate right, it's also the nurse's restroom. So the 3rd kindergarten classroom we're going to walk through, they don't have a built-in restroom, but their next door neighbor is a nurse with a restroom.
Okay.
And they also come through. Like if Mrs. Hanson's, one of her students, needs to use the restroom, they walk right in here, and it's unbelievable,
So-
the routines.
So some of the capital needs in kindergarten would be upgrading our tables, chairs for kids. The latest stuff gives teachers even more flexibility than you see here. These are older. Stuff like that needs to be the next, you'd probably be buying $80,000, $100,000 worth of it district-wide. So that would be literally, and those are a lifespan of at least 15 to 20 years, if not 25 years. But that's where we're going as an industry as well, is more of this breakout space and not individual desks for kids.
Was there discussion about moving the kindergarten to the Wilkins and as part of the?
So the kindergarten right now would actually stay within the 4 remaining schools. They would be K to 5s because the new elementary project is a K to 5 school. The redistricting committee is looking at all of that as an option. Is do we change, do we have a K to 5 school? And then is kindergarten with preschool? I mean, some school districts, the traditional early childhood center would be pre-K and K together in one building, and
Yep.
then everybody becomes 1 to 5s. That would be, to be quite honest, outstanding, because these buildings would all have less kids in them.
Yeah.
It would just take that 1 to 5 and distribute them better. We'd have more opportunities for spaces for internal special education, staff support, specials, and just classroom spaces if we're getting bigger. But then that's complicated because you get the administration building over at the Jones, and when does that happen? So right now the plan is pre-K and administration go to the Wilkins. These buildings maintain as K to 5s. We do have 90 students on the waiting list at the preschool.
Wow.
We need to do something about that.
Yeah.
And almost 100% of those would be paying families.
Okay.
So it'd be paying either reduced or the full. But when you have 90 people who are like, please
Just take
tell
us
public
in,
schools,
yeah.
can
Right.
you give me 2 days a week?
Right.
It would be awesome
Right.
for my kids' socialization, academic abilities, and potentially check to see if the student doesn't have any need for supports.
Right.
Right.
Right away, pre-K
Right.
and K, and not
Figure
3rd,
that
4th,
out,
5th
yeah.
grade.
And there's enough room at the Wilkins to do the pre-K.
There's enough Wilkins at the to be able to do both.
Plus
I mean,
you should-
we would make it tight for the administration, but to be quite honest, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Right? The adults get the Taj Mahal. There's no. Well, first of all, we have no Taj Mahal, to use their language, within our buildings. Although we did.
Getting used
we
to
did-
use that term.
Yeah.
You hear it.
We did build a Taj Mahal High School, according to some, but I would say it's not. But administration would have to do what administration does. There are plenty of school districts where we put it in our budget and we have to lease for administration, somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's not in the plans. The plans right now is pre-K administration to the Wilkins. Jones gets turned over to the town. In my opinion, torn down and developed in whatever way the town feels is appropriate. It's a wonderful piece of property,
Yeah.
centrally located.
Oh, yeah.
Right off to major drags, all
Yes.
parts of town.
Right.
Park right there.
Right.
Great opportunity to really build and support something. Again, we'll let the fathers of the town decide what that is. That's not my role. I would hope that we are really careful about just building condos, because we're already tight for
I was just going to say
Right.
you get more stuff. But the
So-
one thing is that, from what I'm hearing is that the monies that come from the South and the Jones sale will be put towards the debt.
Yeah,
So it's-
and if depending on who's on the board at the time and all of that, if that comes to fruition, that's only going to help.
Right.
Those pieces of property are not $1,000 each. They're significant
Yeah.
pieces of
Oh, yeah.
property.
Yep.
Especially with the Jones School, if we're able, and one of the article changes that's coming up February 3rd that we made is, we've basically have in the article that if we have any type of funding left that oversees the actual cost of tearing the South School down, we'll tear it down as part of the project.
Okay.
So now the town's literally select board would be getting a piece of property
Right.
already torn down, just like we did with the high school.
Right.
No reimbursement on that, like the high school, but
Right.
still it would be within the framework of the entire $113 million project.
Right.
That makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
There's also the potential, and again, we haven't spoken to any, but there's also the potential that stuff like that becomes a one-time free cash situation, where
Yeah.
you're just tearing it down, or do you have a company that's willing to come in, tear it down themselves at their cost because they're going to be doing X, Y, Z, and they figured out in their bottom number they can do it.
Right. Right.
Neither building, the South School is not an expensive building. The problem with the South School tearing it down is going to be the terrain and what's left, because that's
Yeah.
a lot of bedrock over there.
Right.
So that's a change maker as
Right.
well.
Yep.
We've done the full lap?
I was going to say the office area is a lot larger than,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
Yep. And Mrs. Gibbs is awesome.
Yeah.
She mans the station.
So this is a perfect example of a welcoming school and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make sure that we maintain the building, and that was the reason, Dave, when we spoke, that this would be a perfect opportunity to be able to do that.
Right.
So we thank you for coming out.
Oh, I thank you, Dr. Bayetta, as well as Rob, giving us a tour of the score, because I think this was really helpful for our viewers to actually look at the school, And like I said, I'd offer the opportunity to, show off any of the other schools in town. that
We'll
you're
help
interested in.
tour them all. I think the Wilkins and the Hanson should be the next schools, and I think the OMS should be on that list as well, so that people can really see that when you go to build the next project, this is what you're dealing with.
Right.
Probably 8 to 10 years down the road, which means we're going to have to spend a few millions of dollars at the OMS just to keep it up to hold on until the project is available.
And I actually had the working group on this week, by the
Yep.
way, and they were saying that the future for the OMS is after the high school is paid off, is what I
Yep.
heard. So
Yep.
that was
Early
encouraging.
early 30s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Is it 34, 36?
Because I think
something
there
like
was some concern from taxpayers that, they'd be footing the bill for two schools and,
Yeah.
at the same time, but it looks like it's going to wait until the high school's paid off.
Yeah,
Whatever
which is a
it's
great thing. The negative is the square footage for building buildings just continues to go
Go
up.
up, right.
And, we're pushing $1,000 in Massachusetts
Yeah.
for public buildings.
Yeah,
What's it going to be in 10 to 15 years?
right.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But I'm going to project that it's going to go up. We just hope that it's only going up 2 or 3%, and not what we've seen, which is 6, 8,
Right.
9, 10, 12%.
Or see it go down.
Oh, so you go down. Yes,
So-
that probably is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not in that field.
Yeah. Well, hopefully materials come down, labor come down. How's that sound? I'm trying to
Sounds
be
great.
optimistic.
Sounds great, but all of my cousins that are in the construction field
They're
would say,
saying no.
please no.
Right, exactly.
So, damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Understood. Okay, hey, I
So-
thank you both for
Thank you.
giving us
Thank
a
you.
tour. This was very valuable, like I said. I'm leaving it open for you to other schools. I'll definitely be interested.
We'll do that.
Okay, great. And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful to you and understand what Dawe School looks like. And I'd like to thank Anya, Lou, Caroline, and Chris, of course, the people working behind the scenes to make this show happen. And this is Dave Walsh wishing you all a great day. And until next time, see you around town.